I'm going back to old school, both when it comes to my presentation and the content of it. Stefan took up all the media, and in Norway, in the beginning of the internet journalists were told to be the fats left in the incendiary ovens after you've burned the sports journalists. They are worth nothing. That has changed. They are moving the world forward. Just a few comments. On me, on IO, my working place, why we should communicate, inbound, outbound media, old science, new media. What happens in OSH and science? Can you hear me all right? Yeah, good. What will we be meeting in a short time? Challenges and a short comment. This is me and my family. I'm a blue-collar son of a blue-collar worker. I'm the third sibling. According to one of our senior scientists, I'm less intelligent. Still, I knew what I wanted to do at the age of 12, so I'm kind of smart anyway. My background is diversified. Unlike most of the people working in OSH, I've been out in the real world working. And one of the jobs I had a daily striptease a meter away on the side of my desk for 6 months. Don't ask me what I did. NIO is pure research. We do little prevention. We work for our knowledge to become used in prevention, but we don't do campaigning. We disseminate research findings. We are objective. We are an objective partner in the working life with the social partners and the authorities, and we bear no meaning. And having the job of not bearing meaning is difficult when it comes to social media. It's difficult when it comes to engagement and interaction. Facts are not engaging, really. Meanings are. On communication, we communicate to stand out, to be unique, to create, to educate, to deliver. This is what we do as, I'm sorry about the text, I work with a Macintosh, and this is what happens. In social media, it's about learning, engaging, to be part of something, to share, to perform, to be, not just to exist. So the OSH sector, the science sector, is a bit divided from the social media. This creates difficulties. On inbound and outbound media, Stefan was asking about it. The terms derive from marketing. And in social media, it includes channels on which you have control. You can control them, like blogs, etc., newsletters, etc. And it's about, the objective of this is to draw attention, for example, to a website or to an action, and create behavior and create engagement. And this again will attract media and others to recreate engagement and to get a snowball running. Content, storytelling. Outbound media is the opposite, where you buy placing in media, like ads or radio and such. Not that much used by OSH institutes, but frequently used when it comes to campaigning and prevention. More frequent, we use millions of kronas every year on prevention campaigns. Do they work? On inbound and outbound still, this is what we've been doing all the time, placing stuff in media and trying to get it to roll as a snowball. On old science, this is for me, it's not for me, but for our scientists, as it really should be, the proper stuff. Not engaging with all the different kind of social media, meaning stuff, just doing it right. Paper, digitally accessible for me, so I can do real proper science. Doesn't have to be out there for everyone else. Static and story related, peer review, control access. For the few, the educated, like me. I'm the scientist, I'm educated. Citation focus, the whole project. You just wait until you have deliveries, then you tell about it. You don't start to tell about it in the beginning. And a typical comment on communication is, yeah, we see that we need you, people like you, but you're not liked, and we will not bend for your ideas. We are scientists. On new media, just to describe it, it's disruptive, it's sizable, it's shareable, it's disintegrated and mashable, it's engagement driven, it's content building, it's not one-way deliveries. It start stories, which means that when you have a project to be funded, you start telling the story there. You don't wait until you have published the article 4 years later. You tell the story alongside when you go with the research. You start giving the researcher a mobile phone, telling them to use it when they're out sampling, exposure measurements. Take photos, put it on Instagram, tell the story and what you do. It's direct. It's for the many and the few. It's by the many. It's created by the people. Old media versus new media in OSH. In OSH it's not about, or in science really, it's not about new and old media. It's about open access versus paid access, which just doesn't say anything about media and media coverage and communication. We have some points which we need to follow. We are working for a democracy. We are working within our legislation. We are working to present our findings. There are establishment of repositories where you can find both open access stuff and subscribed stuff. Repositories within science and deliveries within science that fight all the medias like Google and Scholar. And often, most often, the board says we have to do it. Be on social media, just fix it. But they don't change culture. It's just something you have to do. And all media is dissemination of end findings. A new paper. About our institute. Just a comment, this is how we work. This is how we get a snowball to run. We have analyzed the media in Norway, what journalist, what paper, who does what, where can we place something. If we have an article where you have female nurses, night shift work and cancer, I know that I'm going to talk to this journalist in that paper, in that part of the paper, to get it placed. Then it will be placed and it will be picked up by others. This is typical what we do. We've tried to do this on social media as well. It's hard, because the ones carrying meaning are not the ones you think they are. Not because they are false, but because they have impact in a completely other way. Our job as an institute is to contribute to a safe and meaningful and helping working life for all. To reduce work-related sickness absence, to provide a possibility for a prolonged work life, and to enhance participation in work life in general. Giant goals. What do? We present end findings. So it's not visible for all at all times. But we do it good. This is how we do it. I'm just not going into depth in that. And these are some of the numbers. Still, I'm sorry about the Mac. We have around 20% of the coverage of work environment stuff in Norwegian media overall per year. We publish 50 peer review articles. We're a small institute. We're 122 people, and we have 20% of the overall coverage in Norway. This is good, really good, but we are losing position. We are losing position when it comes to social media. We're not there, or we are there, but really we aren't there. Most of our work is done in media and by training and courses. which are not training and courses, they are communication channels where we meet the target group directly. And most of our science is presented there. So what about OSH science? Storytelling is picking up within science, and peer review is picking up. You have organizations working for open access putting their papers on Twitter, asking, can you please review me? For real. It's growing. You have other stuff happening. You have more of the repositories, which really they are trying to control content. Open science movements, and you have crowdfunding for science. Other ways of funding what you do. You get the funding by the people on Twitter or Facebook or otherwise. Examples only. We have put out a surveillance tool where journalists and others can use it to understand more about, interactively, to understand more about how the working life is in Norway. Royal Society of Chemistry has established altmetrics on impact in the journals, interactive. NIOSH personnel is working on a poll, a survey technique, an app, and they are going to have a PhD dissertation on this fall. Completely new way of doing research interactively, and it opens up for enormous possibilities when it comes to storytelling at the same time. ResearchGate is growing. To what extent? What's that going to be? Are they going to evolve into a repository? What happens then? How are the researchers communicating in ResearchGate? And what kind of importance does that have for our work when it comes to dissemination? A few examples. Danish Institute, the French Institute, us, EOSHA, NIOSH, one of NIOSH, and it's hard to see, but the Danish has like 80 followers. We have 200 and something. One of the NIOSH points has 200,000. It does say something about the sizes of the countries, but that's not all. It says something about have we been successful in social media or not? Have we worked with it? This is 3 days old, I think. So what will we be facing rather soon? Content is changing. This is Ericsson Mobility Report, June 2013. And the lilac color is, the purple color is video, and estimated in 2018. Video content. I bring this forward to just state that we are getting more mobile, and the content is changing, and that provides us with a challenge when it comes to how to tell our stories, content-wise. We cannot be old school. The user becomes more continuously active all the time, and still working more and more with film, images, moving images. And this just keeps going on. This is the different sectors of the world, and all of them are growing when it comes to mobility and being online all the time. What does this mean for us when we want to be part of the discussion or the interaction, create content, the engagement? If we are old school, like NIO in Norway, having a website and very little photos, very little videos, what happens with us? We'll probably disappear. We won't be part of that if we don't move. So our challenges are, new media is not new anymore, but it's renewing itself, and the old media. We in OSH related science are late movers. We are pretending to be innovative, but we are late movers, and we need to understand that. That's a challenge. We are stuck in open access discussion and journal and products instead of moving to the beginning of the products and starting to create engagement. Move the discussion. The users and readers, and in fact scientists, the young scientists, have grown up with new media. They are new school. But we, with our tutors, bring them back to old school, saying this is how we do it. So we are reshaping them backwards instead of forward. And as I said a few times, the story starts when a project begins, not when findings are presented. And we need a shift of culture in-house. New media doesn't change science. It changed the perception of science and its findings. It changed the possibilities to perform science. It changed the dissemination and importance and the possible importance. It challenges our scientists. It provides a lot of possibilities. And we can have more transparency, openness, accountability, and trust, even though we are afraid of the social media challenges and channels. This is why we need a change of culture. This is really what it's all about. It's not about us understanding technology. It's about changing behavior. Yes, thank you.